I just wanted to work on a couple of pieces. And the initial point is when you're, let's say, making contact. So we're going to have a person start with either a boxing or a Wing Chun guard. It doesn't really matter. But what you're going to do is with your guard, or either Wing Chun guard or double fist, it doesn't matter. As you step in, I want you to start with just making contact with their center. Yeah? So what am I thinking? My center, where his center is. Just making contact with the center and just feeling that. I just want you to start with that, and we're going to add to it. Why? Because that is a primary pillar of our skill set. That our center is always placed on their center. So that when you do, so number one, if you make contact and you've hit his balance to a degree, you can hit it. Meaning if his balance is slightly offset, his muscles tense up, which allows you to hit, right? That's the first thing. So you always want to focus there so you can strike. But secondary to that, what we're going to look at today is that as we come through to hit, how do we then use that to latch as well? So once you've actually got their center of mass offset by their balance, how do you then control that from that point? So the first thing I want you to keep in mind is what we were working on over the last couple of weeks. When I'm making contact, how do I make sure I'm not just leaning, pushing, or tensing my muscles directly at them? So when I meet force, I stay in my power, centered in my intention, focused on their center. But then we're just going to start off just trying to make a contact and just offset them a little bit. Doesn't even matter where they're at, just make contact, offset them a little bit. They don't even need to bump back. You just want to be making sure that their center is being moved through contact. Does that make sense? So it's a bit more free flowing. You don't have to come in a set guard. Carlson keeps his, you can mix up whatever guards he has. I'm just going to enter in, make sure I'm getting in contact with his balance. Make sure I'm getting in contact with the balance. Still be sure to cover the lines of attack, so don't be stupid and just come under and be like this, so now you can hit me with both hands, yeah? So still cover the lines of your attack, offsetting balance, and pay attention to your body. Make sure it's staying sunk and released as you make that contact. This is the real kind of problem that I need you all to solve for yourselves, and that's fighting force with force. The way that seems to be the fastest way is to stay in your power, meaning centering, softly draw up, good feeling quality in the center, keeping the sinking on, so that as I'm making contact, that's what my mind is on. My mind is still on this and this as I'm making contact. Make sense? So, to be very clear and simple, your partner's going to put up a guard. You're just going to enter, saying, I want to offset his balance. Enter. He can rearrange his guard. You just want to practice that entry, connecting to the balance as the primary, maintaining state and power, not fighting force with force. Make sense? 1, 2, have a play. So, the direction of my mass via the intention is what helps to offset their balance. Another way to say it is my spine is replacing his spine, to put it in very simple terms. But then the further question is, if I really want to be great at this, how do I not fight force with force at the contact? So stop my muscular system for pressing against them. Yeah? This is where you use the state, right? So the first thing we think about is the power plane. So as I'm making contact with Carlson, I'm staying in here. So my mind is from earth to tail to crown as I'm making contact. Earth, tail, crown. So that's the primary. I stay in that. Not only that, it's targeted to him. But the next piece is how you not use force, right? The next piece is how you don't tighten up the body as a way to kind of cheat and just kind of push them back, which isn't exactly what we're looking for. Because if they're bigger, stronger, or you're fatigued, it's not going to work as well. This is where sensing, sinking comes into play, or what we've started to call like a frequency funnel, where you're sinking down and you're letting the power plane, I don't think you've heard the term power plane before, some of you haven't still. So centering your intention, focus that to them. So you've got a plane of intention, right? Your space and the sinking funnels into that plane. So everything's funneling into that plane. That allows the system to stay released as I move, so that I don't just fight against him. So what am I asking you to do? I'm asking you to play around with those two pieces and then bring them together. As your partner puts a guard up, you can just go, okay, power plane on, I'm staying in my center, yeah? I'm staying in my center, yeah? So I'm not fighting against him. Next piece is, I'm sinking and funneling it into the power plane. I'm sinking and funneling it into the power plane, so that I don't find my system pressing on them. If you don't, let's just say, you're not really aware if you're tensing up or not, what you can do as an exercise is you can stay on the contact point and slow it down. Really slow it down and notice, okay, am I actually forcing against the contact point? Because Because no one cares if I bumped them away, but you did it with force. Who gives a shit? You're trying to develop skill here, which means you're trying to be able to dissolve tension when you meet force. So, play around with those two parts. Number one, power plane, staying centered in your intention, good feeling quality, connecting it to them. They put a guard up, you step in, you keep the power plane on. My primary is here. Next piece, I'm sinking and releasing. Everything's getting funneled into that plane. So you can think of every cell is arcing, being magnetized into that plane as a released flow into it. So I keep that on now, so that as I make contact, I don't feel that I'm tightening up against him. I feel that, I can stay in that sense of releasedness. Why is this important? This is what's going to allow you to then just hit through when you want to, because you've got, your body's not fighting force with force, it's moving structurally, right? But also further to that, allow you to then control the person when you make contact, because you're able to stay connected to their center. Yeah, so there's a reason for this. I'm not just doing it for fun. Yeah? Alrighty. Any questions? Power plane, frequency funnel in the application of entering guard. 1, 2, let's go. Yeah? Yeah? That's pretty much the game, being able to maintain that sense of release and connection under pressure. Now let's look at it in a different context. So Carsten's going to have just up like a boxer's guard. Yep. And what you're going to do is you're just going to do it with the punch. Same principle now. So from just facing forward, I don't mind, just keep everything facing forward. You don't have to have like straight up Wing Chun, Siu Lim Tao, stance and guard. Just have everything facing forward towards them. Because look, you have to step in self-defense anyway, so you're not going to be doing this obviously, right? So I don't mind how you position your feet as long as you're facing towards them. Now you're going to start off punching cross arm, yeah? You're just going to punch through, and your objective is to just see how I've made a connection to his balance. That's it. Exactly the same thing. I'm just trying to make a connection to his balance. Now whether you step or not, I don't really care. I just want you to maintain that same sense. My center connects to the center. So you've got a couple of options here. You can just throw your punch across and get a feeling of them moving. But you can also slow it down, meaning I can throw it slowly and then feel, okay, how is my system reacting? I want to feel that I'm centered and my center is going to him, yeah? Now, do that a few times, fast, slow. And then the next piece, which you can jump straight into, so you can do it with the same partner, is that I want you to then go to latch from there. The initial intent is always to hit. You're always thinking, okay, I just want to hit. I'm just going to hit the target. That's the idea. Because you're offsetting their balance, because you're tensing up, that makes it easy to just hit, right? Now, what you can do though, let's just say they're strong, very strong, or they're structurally integrous for some reason. As you go through to hit, that may not come straight through, but because you keep the power plane on, then as you latch, you'll offset their balance, yeah? So you're keeping that focus to them so that as you latch, you're not just latching on their arm, you're keeping the focus at their center, so that as you latch their actual center, yeah? So there's a couple of pieces there. You've got 3 pieces. First one is just get used to hitting to the center. Hitting to the center. Sometimes you'll hit through, yeah? Slowly feeling, how's my body reacting? Okay, cool. There's still a sense of looseness. I still feel mobile. That's good. Third piece is as you punch and connect, there's too much resistance, you then latch. So you get used to maintaining focus on them as you latch, which is quite a useful movement for self-defense, yeah? Alrighty, any questions? 1, 2. Yeah. Black square. Water, you get the black square. So we're going to have 5 people in the black squares, yeah? And each person's just going to present a different guard for you, and you're going to play around with entering to strike. But the primary is, look, as usual, you do want to be conscious of covering the lines of attack. I don't want to come in here stupid and do things that allows him to hit me. So I am covering the lines of attack. You guys already have that principle in your mind. But the focus on skill development today is making sure you're connecting center to center, but then using that. So don't go straight into, we'll evolve this in a sec, so don't just go straight in and go, bang, yeah, oof, I mean, yes, that's what you would ideally do, but we're working on the skill of connecting to the center and controlling it. So I want you to come into their balance, make contact, and then just move them around a bit. He says move, and then the next, so he puts up a guard, I'm just going to cover the lines of attack, and then move his balance, yeah? And just get used to playing around with their balance. Now, the arms are doing one thing, your mind is in the power plane. You're here, centered in your intention. You're targeting that to them. Everything's flowing to them. So that's where your mind is as you do those movements. Make sense? So it's just what you did, but you're going to fuck with them a little bit more. We're going to have 5 people along here. You're just going to go through the line and circle around. Make sense? 1, 2.